Anybody else need an agenda?
Okay, we'll call the construction meeting to order. Here. Approval of the minutes, June 26th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion is carried. Discussion and possible motion on design update from Cooney Architects for Highway Department project.
Good evening.
Hello. That you on there, John? Yeah.
Yes.
So what do we got for
Okay, so for an
highway
update,
stuff?
yep, for an update, took all the information that we gathered from last meeting and, kind of mirrored the facility and pushed it to the west. Allowing us to keep the existing facility. I'll just go back to the demo plan. So what that does is keeps the site, the scale where it's at. The sign shop and the storage facility here are, would be removed. This structure here, the, right here, the structure to the north of that is questionable whether we want to keep that or not. It could be kept short term. You can get this back up here. Why is it not?
What is that one used for?
Tony Salt Shed.
Yeah, so that one is 36 feet away, so we'd have to strategically plan the distance. Because we did create a 27-foot drive road on the bottom side of the facility here. Trying to keep out of the tree line. So we could go a little bit farther to the south, but I think then you're creating more costs kind of getting into that, the tree line. But something we need to analyze. Other than that, all the pavement, the scale could stay, the in and out movements work. The front office parking lot would be south of the main building. You can still get in and out of the main building. The other part of the plan that changed, we moved the wash bay so you don't have to go into the building. You can drive through the wash bay and then you're on the exterior when you finish. The other part that we squared off, we had a 5-foot offset of the office. We squared it off, so now we have kind of a nice geometric shape, except the wash bay popping out. The added square footage went into the fabrication bay. Talking with Justin and staff there, they really needed more room in the fabrication and a little bit down in the parts. So the added square footage, moving the wash bay to the left, went into the orange. With that, I guess we're just looking for any feedback. If you felt we captured what you were looking for in the placement, to give you an update, all the site survey work was completed last week, and now we're just in the middle of putting it all into the computer and building the entire site from the site survey work that was completed the week of the 7th. So any questions on the placement?
Kind of looks like what we were after, I guess, when we talked about moving it last
And
time.
you'll be able to drive to the west side of it to get right onto the scale, right?
Yeah, if it's 27 feet wide, we can get the plow truck through there to get back on the scale.
And really the way we have it laid out, the plow trucks if they're in the building, we could come out of the building. If they get salt and come around, they can still circle around the building, like I said, and then kind of meander over to the scale. So there's still good movements north and south of the scale. So like I said, our hopes is to get the thumbs up so we can keep building the model and start getting into, the construction documents after meeting with staff maybe one or two more times, just kind of fine tuning the office piece, but I think we're getting real close.
I've wrecked my brain a few times trying to figure out in that wash bay. It's on the coldest part of that whole structure. And it's gonna be one that I would think when they're salting and stuff, is gonna be one opening and closing, opening and closing, opening and closing. We've just got some problems with that, but I don't know what else we could do about it.
Yeah, I really think we need to talk to some different user groups. I know in the past, when I've done that, it's led to where that unit opens up back to the interior. I think the group's concern here is more so non-users then they're always going into the building. So I think we just got to weigh the pros and cons. What we do in this application, just so you know, that we'll put like what we call a blower curtain in. So at the door, when that door goes up, there'll be a blower that blows warm air across that opening. So it helps temper that air as it's coming into the building too. So less of a concern of freezing anything in there. Our bigger concern is really the temperature when the wet unit hits the outside.
So there's an air curtain going in and out, correct?
Correct. Yep. What you'll just typically see on days where it's extremely cold, you probably wouldn't wash in there because you still have the capability of washing inside the building and the parking stalls. So you could do a somewhat of a little cleanup within the green area too.
That would make more sense in below zero weather, I would think, but
Right, set a minimum. I mean, they do it at Quick Trip. So, I mean,
Yeah, it's
those are
pretty,
up
I
on
mean, what wash bays deal with our climate. So it's just really making sure you guys know the temperatures that you shouldn't kind of, it doesn't make sense to do it.
I got a question for Jason too. Is this the number of trucks we have now in this building?
So this is placed out so we get all the plow trucks in there and majority of the pickups. I got this here if you want to look at it with all the trucks numbered and everything on there.
Okay.
It fits everything except for 5 pickup trucks.
yeah,
And with this new plan, as you guys know, that allows you to keep this existing building for other type of storage, that can stay in a climate controlled environment.
Justin, will the bigger equipment fit in the old building then, as far as?
Yeah, we can get the bigger equipment into the other building. Right now, in the winter time, we cram a loader in there with the plow trucks, so it'll fit.
You got any other questions about the layout? Looks good where you got a position.
Because
I don't
Justin-
move, right?
correct me if I'm wrong, Justin, this where I put the green on the existing, that's all large vehicles can fit in that space easily, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So situated that way, can we get, if you need to work on the trucks, big trucks, we keep that salt shed. Can you bring them in that way? You said it's only 36 feet. That's kind of tight, isn't it?
That's tight. So if we decided to keep that short for a little while until we figure out if we're gonna be able to work a shed with the state or not,
Yeah.
you would have them 2 doors more to the west. Besides the welding room, those 2 doors to the west, you should be able to get a truck in there, no problem. Whereas you can get the cars and the pickups in the eastern side.
Yep.
And I can tell you, once I got the official site survey document, we're going off aerial maps. I'll be able to dial in those dimensions, so we know exactly. But my goal is to try to push that thing to maybe 40, 45 feet. So we got a good clearance.
Is there an
I should
issue
have a-
on,
Oh, sorry.
is there an issue on the south end if we needed to bring that building further south? Then aside from clearing trees out, is there a bunch of fill we would have to put in there? Is that a wetland concern or anything like that?
I honestly don't have the topography yet. That's part of the field work we did. I guess, Justin, just you being there, do you know anything on that terrain there?
Yeah, it's close. I don't know exactly where that's sitting right there. I know it's relative to where the area could be wet.
So what I was going to mention is I'll have all that data by the end of this week. So I'll be able to better inform you on the grades and that by the end of this week.
Okay.
And then really what our goal is to get a site plan together for stormwater and that, and get in with the with Lady Smith and kind of start reviewing their requirements on that piece.
One thing that crossed my mind when I was looking at the drawing in the office area, I noticed that the women's restroom is a lot smaller than the men's. And 20 years down the road, it's not out of the ordinary. It's not beyond comprehension that half of our workforce there could be women. Are we going to be in trouble with that going forward?
I think we can take that into account, that comment, and I can look at that. Where we would maybe have it where each locker room, maybe it could flip, you know what I mean? The women's goes to a male. I'll analyze it that way to make sure fixtures would work, flipping it.
It was just something that crossed my mind when I was looking at that last night.
Yep. Nope, good point.
Any other questions for John at this point?
I've just got 3 observations I've had over time. One is, are we gonna need to put a new water service in? Because I was told that they could only wash 2 trucks at a time. The
Yeah, this
second one
facility will
is-
need a new water service specifically too, because it'll be 100% fire suppression too.
Okay, the second one is the old sewer off the old building, said they're having problems with it. Is that gonna be fixed or?
You mean?
No sense in
like-
having a building if your sewers don't work.
Yeah, obviously, I haven't gotten that feedback yet, but yeah, we will make sure we're into new sewer system. Correct, and functional.
Then the third one is, I was told that when they were welding and they've had 3 electricians work on it, whenever they lit the welder up, the lights dimmed. That's what I've been
Yeah, that's
told. I
a-
presume that's still true.
Flicker.
So anyhow, some electrician, 3 companies have not gone back far enough in the feed to figure out where the problem is. Apparently, according to my dumb electric background. But I think that whole thing has to be backtracked till we find out we have enough juice to do what we need to do.
Yeah, so this building will have its own new service, but we should look at to see if there's any issue there that could be a hazard. So that's definitely something we can look into.
Service needs to be sized for the,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
work
that-
they're gonna be doing.
Yeah, my guess is what we may look at doing is, whether, there definitely be a new service coming in here, whether we backfeed the old building, that's not known yet.
Just a few points I've seen.
Okay, so what's the next step then, John? Continue
Yeah,
the design?
Yep, if this is good, now we can continue into construction documents. Now that we got the layout where we want it, we'll keep working with Justin, fine tuning each space. And then essentially just bring it back as you guys want to see as we populate the different mechanical systems, the electrical, things like that within the building. We can keep bringing you up to speed.
Sure. Yep.
And in the big one, once I have the site in there, I think we'll get into the stormwater and that, and then, meeting and show everybody how that's going to look too.
Okay,
This is the panel building, or are they looking at different options?
Actually,
we're still looking at,
take the space here.
I don't think we're at that point.
We're not to that point.
John, the question was, are we looking at a steel structure? Or are we looking at cast in place or paneling? Or are we still in the process of figuring that out?
I think we're still in the process of figuring that out. I do want to, ideally, I'd like to do a precast tilt up panel system. Just want to make sure it fits within the budget. I know doing the blue, we added some square footage, but we actually took out quite a bit of cost to not demoing the existing building. Originally, I had a cost in there for that. So I think right where we sit, we're still good with the budget. So, and originally the building, it was kind of a hybrid precast tilt up with a pre-engineered structure. So we're still working towards that, fine tuning those details.
originally you were looking at precast mainly because it was just gonna be in the storage area at first. We could add on to it, but now that the whole building is gonna go up at once, I guess we could look at both, steel or concrete
Yeah.
precast walls.
Yeah. I still think the main precast shell load bearing is going to be the most cost effective way for us to go. We can eliminate a lot of extra steel columns and be, different stuff structural around the exterior. That's going to take a couple weeks to get into to make sure we're fine tuning that piece of it.
Sure.
But based on this, I can update the schedule for our 30, 60, 90 construction documents to be complete. So everybody's on board with the timing.
Okay, well,
I don't have any more.
all right, thank you, John.
Great, thank you.
Set the next meeting date while he's still on.
What's that?
Set the next meeting date while he's still on.
No.
I'm still.
Yeah. Any idea on the next meeting update?
I would be ready with all the site stuff and that and different building structure and components in 2 weeks. I don't know how often you guys want to meet. If you want to do 2 or 3 weeks, I'll leave it up to you. Just basically tell you in 2 weeks I'd be ready. And then you just tell me what it best fits in your schedule.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll probably, we'll get a hold of you on, schedule one after so we can coordinate it with the jail project too, probably.
Yep, sounds good. Like I said, anytime after 2 weeks is great, or 2 weeks or beyond.
Sure. Okay. Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Should be end of July.
28.
Then we'll decide that.
Yeah, what they decided.
Okay, discussion and possible motion design update from Venture Architects for the jail project.
I'm gonna try and see if it comes up. So what we've been doing, we're working with interiors today, and we had our food service and laundry consultant here today going over some preliminary layouts, discussing through that as well. Finishes, just kind of an overview. This is just what we were talking about today. We had made some changes here, but the majority of this blue area that you see here, that's all sealed concrete. So again, nothing extravagant as far as finishes go, as far as flooring. Looking at the areas for medical areas, staff areas are going to be sheet vinyl, resilient flooring for durability, etc. Cleanliness, going through that. I went through the showers. We were looking at vestibules only would be call it a walk-off mat. So it's kind of bristly. People can wipe their feet off. You don't have the rubber mats that you have to contract out to get cleaned or replaced. It's in there. It's basically a 2x2 tile. We've had it in our office last about 12 years or so, 12, 15 years. And then you can replace it. If you need it, gets worn out, you can just replace the 2x2 tile. We find that be a little bit less cost as far as maintenance wise. You just vacuum it up. We are checking some other manufacturers' requirements. I know one of the concerns was if it does get, because during winter times, you rub your boots off, moisture gets built up. You can vacuum it out, but if there's a smelling concerns to it. So some of those things that we're just looking at into that. Again, resilient flooring, some of the offices, but as you see, majority is sealed concrete. That this is the padded chute. It's got a 2-inch foam consistency that gets on the floor and the walls. That padded cell. And some of the changes that we've discussed today, laundry area, the staff areas in here for the kitchen would but also be sealed concrete. And then the kitchen itself and freezers and coolers would be more of an epoxy based product that adheres to for cleanliness and as well as thermal shock in the coolers and freezers. We discussed kind of if you did sealed concrete in the coolers and freezers, obviously with condensation moisture, you can get a little slippage. So that's why it'll just run in that epoxy. Staff lockers, we do have tiled flooring. Wet walls would be tiled as well. That's kind of the only upkeep to or better finishes, so to speak, for the staff areas. And that's pretty much it for as far as interiors. We talked about epoxy paint throughout the jail staff or jail areas, specifically where inmates would be located, and then the staff areas would be standard demo paints to that for cost efficiencies. Epoxy paint holds up better. The jails more durable, more easily to clean off. So again, getting into the finishes, we haven't done too many plan changes since the last time, which is a good thing. Things are good, consolidated. Couple of the things that we did include, if the skywalk does not get approved, we have to drive them to the block to get to courts. We do have a little court holding area. Actually, inmates in the housing pod has to go to court, go down the corridor. The
port holding. They have to get into the vehicle sally port and drive the block, come back. Then they have to be brought back and rebooked and go through the pre-booking, get scanned, rebooked, and then back to the housing. We also had discussed as far as court bookings, for an area for that. You have an area, so if somebody has court booking, they're not brought into the jail, like they are currently. Again, trying to maintain as many, least amount of people getting into the jail perimeter, so they can do all that. As well. So that's essentially the only plan changes that we've had. Minor things between the laundry and in the kitchen. I'll just show one of the layouts that we discussed today. So here's the laundry. We'll have we're gonna have a janitor's room, washer, dryer area. These are located so they can be locked if we ever do have inmate workers. These are locked out so they can't get behind the dryer, get into the washer and the chemicals. And supervisor's office, these are all windows, so if you have a vendor, they can oversee laundry as well as the kitchen area. Dry storage, walk-in freezers. Here's the loading dock. What's right by the kitchen area, so you can bring it in. Vendor can unload pallets, etc. And then if you have inmate workers, they can come in here and take pallets in bulk and then put it into the storage areas. So it's kind of nice located. Of discussing equipment as far as the dishwashing, etc. For that area. So in this scheme, we have dry storage, walk-in coolers, we have prep sinks, island workstations, and all the cookware and the hoods along this wall. And then traying up the carts is right in this location. It's not a conveyor, it's just rollers, and they can just push it along as we scoop out into the trays. Janitor's closets. Again, we talked about having a janitor rooms, nothing out in the open. Make sure that we can lock it for in the future if you ever do have inmate workers.
They unloaded that loading dock down at the bottom there. They have to go all the way around to the left and then get into the coolers and
Yeah, so from here, if they
all the way to
unload,
go straight in.
go in here, down the corridor and straight into this way in this scheme, and then dry storage and coolers. But it's just kind of right around the corner.
The other element that the kitchen consultants are looking at is if there's a possible reuse of your washer and dryer. So they're going to look at that. And then to keep this as cost effective as possible, the option would be if there's one washer and dryer with the future second washer and dryer, that would be an add alternate. So we're going to bid it as a base bid. And then if you wanted to add them on, so we're going to have some alternates that are easy for them to have add alternates for. Same thing with some of the cookware that's in there, that what you don't need day one, but if you would grow to your 90+ beds, the capacity is there to be able to take that on. So
You plumb in the washer and dryer, even if you don't put one in there.
infrastructure is there. It'd just be a matter of purchasing the second washer or dryer if you needed it.
It was kitchen equipment that we need to replace it. Infrastructure is there, so you can add it in later on. It is designed for day one capacity at 55 mark. It is built for into the 90s for the future expansion. You just may have another delivery that week once you comply it, but all the equipment's there to maintain that population. As well as the dryers, we was doing some calculations. But day one, you might just need one washer and dryer, and then you just have the capacity if you do go say the 95. We can add on another washer and dryer. Work a little bit longer. Anyone was sent the perspective? So this is that entryway. This is, that entryway right by where you come in there and you go to the right would be the court booking. You go to the left, in the vestibule is the attorney visitation area. If you can't go straight, but exiting for people being released or going through property storage, they get released out of this same area right in here. Kind of behind the corner is the staff entrance. Just reiterating, housing for the most part is precast wall panels. And then as we get around, the majority it will be that entry piece. We have some metal panel. And then we have a little bit of brickwork, just kind of dress up that main entranceway. But everything else kind of will have some additional metal panel around it. Now,
Looking at the west side, correct?
yes, yes. So one in this discussion, here's that dash line is for that future expansion. Dash line is for future expansion. This wall, I want to create that precast because that's going to be difficult to replace when you add on. So this wall is going to be masonry. And then more than likely with that same metal panel or similar metal panel, not at the entranceway, we have some other metal panel up on high and around the corners. To do that because it's going to be less cost, because if it's technically a temporary wall, so to speak, that way they can put the precast in, cap this off. We'll have columns in here to support both roofs. You can get that, close it, build all of this out. In the last resort, you take down that masonry wall and then you infill it with the detention grade borrowed lights and doors for the day room fronts. So it's easier construction than can tear it down. So don't want to spend a lot of money, obviously, on that wall. That's going to get either torn down or covered up in the future. And in the future, we'll have more renderings from around the building so you can see all aspects of it. Again, the skywalk is an alternate, and then we do have a little bit of renovation work if that does proceed. To gain access to the courts, to the elevator. We'll have some additional court holdings as well, because reminder, the one you have really only one court holding up there right now. The one is not certified under Department of Corrections to hold someone for courts because it doesn't have toilet and et cetera in that area. So this way it'll apply with additional court holding. Any questions on that, on the plan, on the perspective?
You had said earlier, there's a elevator shaft, but no elevator.
So
in this, correct?
correct. So in the alternate bid for the skywalk, we have a shaft that we will build in the base bid, but the elevator equipment, et cetera, the equipment itself will not be in the alternate bid. It will be in that alternate bid, but as a base bid, without the skywalk, it's just a shaft opening. Again, in the future, talked about that before. If you build a jail 2-3 years down the road, if you didn't get approved day one, you could come back and put it in. We have it constructed that we have it all closed off here with secure vestibule. They can come in there, build a skywalk and watch out that opening to proceed through it.
When you're talking about flooring, you did refer to vinyl and what's going in the cells,
Sealed concrete,
just concrete?
just concrete.
Okay.
I mean, that's,
But, okay, just sealed.
it's sealed. It's not gonna look like a finished product. It's gonna look like concrete. It might have a little bit of, usually gets a little darkness because of the sealer gets, absorbed into the concrete. But other than that, that's it. That's the least cost option, for that. And durability. If there are other floorings that we do in jails, but again, you're adding additional cost. We're just trying to keep the cost down.
Finals going where?
Sheet vinyl, obviously the medical area, samples, et cetera, for cleaning those areas out. Well, the sheet vinyl, with sheet vinyl in the staff area here, that as well as in these offices. We discussed, a lot of times that would be the only place you'd have carpet. But again, jail administrator is gonna go into the jail. You don't know what you're picking up off your shoes, and then you're gonna bring it back on the carpet. It's better just use sheet vinyl and you can easily clean it. And for durability.
So some of that liquid flooring, I used it when I was working 10, 15 years ago. I know they must have new products by now that are a little bit better.
We can
But
do
those things lasted for time even then.
for like an epoxy flooring, urethane floorings. You can do that. We do have like an epoxy flooring for in the showers. And we could be utilizing it, so that's very durable. You can bring that up, you hold it up into the base
Yeah.
and do that as well. And here we just sheet vinyl. It helps with the staff as well, so they're not on the concrete flooring at all times, and it gives them a little bit of cushion, not a lot. And everything is wax, just open water to clean it off.
35-year warranty.
Those have a pretty good warranty on them. I don't know if it's 35 years, but
You're stretching it.
I just worry about vinyl and stuff, especially on concrete.
those, yeah, it's just staff areas, the nurses area. We will have it a bit in that officer station. And there's an office in the raised booking area. On the staff side, we'll have some sheet vinyl. Essentially, it's all concrete.
Okay, then what's the next step? Just continue on,
Continuing on, our
Design.
next meeting is at the end of the month. We have our engineers coming, presenting kind of the basis of design of the building systems, et cetera. But we're just continuing designing.
okay? More questions?
I'm dead the last week in July. I'm not available. Wife will shoot me, so I could go to the first on a Friday. The next week, or have a meeting without me.
Well,
Sorry, but did you want to stay within the monthly meetings schedule?
monthly, well. Probably something toward the middle or, beginning of the month, whatever. That takes something to the full board. Got time to set it up. Did 3 weeks, cause John had said 2 or 3 weeks. That would be the 4th August on a Monday.
I can do that.
Anything booked for that already?
4:30, yes.
There is.
We have it
Late in the
early,
day.
Pardon?
4:30, it's booked.
We go earlier?
You want 3?
Hear you?
Huh?
Does 3 work for you or is that too early?
It's gonna be raining that day anyways, Jerry.
Cabs.
It'll work.
3:00 that day.
Shoot for 3 o'clock on the 4th. All right, discussion and possible motion for site survey estimate costs for the jail site. Got, figures on that.
Yeah, that was sent, your county. Right? And so. Were the numbers that get surveying the jail process.
So the site survey is not included in the scope of the contract that we signed, and with where we're at with the bonding vote failing, corporate counsel felt it best to bring it to the committee for discussion.
Kind of
Now-
price are we talking?
There were two costs on that. One was 6,400. The other one was 560. Well, that was just for the, I believe it was 2560 for the recording fees for the CSM.
Yeah, the 6,200 would be the number, that'd be the complete.
6,200?
Mm-hmm.
64 it says here.
Or the 64?
That other one is included in that,
Correct. That's with your local surveyor that did your county work. We reached out to them.
we need to approve that cost and get that done.
Yes, because then they're gonna be handicapped moving forward with getting us accurate plans, is my understanding, if they don't
Yeah.
get a correct survey of the site.
Where would it come from?
Gonna come from the same capital projects line. Mhm.
So is there a motion to approve the now it says site survey estimate cost? Is that gonna be pretty accurate, you think? Or, I mean,
I believe they had everything covered that we talked about.
And we work with them quite a bit on surveys, so they're usually very right on.
so is there a motion to approve the $6,400 cost to do the site survey?
6,400. There's a number in there.
For the 6,400, if it's something different, I'll have to come back and
I'll second it.
talk about it. Got a motion and a second?
Is that just include surface area and beneath it?
Well, the utilities, et cetera, would be all in.
So the big power lines going across that section would be part of
We'd
that?
have, that would be all in.
Okay.
All and everything, you wouldn't get.
I was wondering whether it was above ground or both.
Capital projects said all you want, Ashley.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. And consider referring the bonding once again for these projects to the county board at the next meeting. What do you guys think of that? I mean, I know there were a few of them that wanted more information.
I don't think we've got enough information that it's gonna satisfy the people that wanted more information. That's my thought, and I won't be at the next meeting.
Chairman, if I may, Jeff Vincent had brought to me that he had voted before no on the bonding when it was brought up for just the highway project. And he'd be interested in seeing, just to get that part moving, to have the bonding for just the highway project go through as a starter and work on a jail project later if came to kind of more of an agreement on that.
So push the jail out a couple more years. We've seen the numbers on that. It'd be ludicrous to do that.
Well, we did have a vote on that earlier, a couple of months ago at, just the county shop and it voted down.
He said if it got brought up, maybe don't have the whole presentation on it being attached to the jail project going through. he also said that I mean, if need be, he could just bring that one back, you know, because he voted no on it before, because he was hoping for both to go through, but in the sake of making progress. Said they figured a lot of people that voted no on both would probably go for just the highway to get it moving forward.
Well, bonding fell through last time, but meeting before that, it was approved by the full board. to Continue with both projects
Right.
as one. That went through. Was bonding was the issue.
Rough numbers, right?
Well, we do and we don't. I mean, got the numbers that
Right.
till actual bidding, we don't have a final number, but that's another step that the full board's gonna have to approve anyway.
You were explaining to me there was some peril by only doing one now and both.
Well, first and foremost, we have a big drop in the debt service coming next year. So if we only do one, which is fine, you're minimizing the advantages of that debt service drop. Because if it is the will of the board to approve a jail, if they have a little bit more information, if we delay that till the next levy year, that impact is gonna look higher to the taxpayer. So there's that. The other thing is, this was brought up, I think, by Mr. Unterschutz and Mr. Meyer in a finance meeting to Baird, and the way Justin explained it was that if you are acknowledging that you need to do both, if you're saying there's a need for a jail and a highway shop, there are more advantages to doing them together than there are disadvantages, because let's say, for example, you just approved the highway shop and you just want to borrow for it all in one bonding. What happens when it comes in under budget? Now you have arbitrage issues. What happens when it comes in over budget? Are we gonna do another bonding for, say, $1 million? So there's that in there. You could write in maybe some capital borrowing, and that would fix that issue. But it's a multi-layered, complex problem here. And I think it's more complex with the fact that, as the chair just mentioned, the board did authorize moving forward with design for both of these projects. So are you gonna get bid documents and then just sit on them? Because I'm not sure how, like, what the shelf life is on construction documents, especially for something that has such complex codes. So I guess where it would help administration is, even if you don't want to forward bonding to the board again, can we at least have a discussion at the county board about maybe why it got voted down? Because at this point, I don't think Corey or John really have direction on how they're moving forward here. I think we're a little bit in limbo.
Well, we are kind of, I guess, where we're at now, but
John should lead that in front.
Yeah.
Just an idea.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Maybe John should lead that up front. You know, to ask what do they want? Cause you're the chair of this, so.
yeah, I mean, I just soon bring it up to gather more info to see what the board members want to hear or want to see. I mean, they said last time that they wanted more detail, or they weren't sure what we were bonding for exactly. I mean, we've been, looking at literature for how long, and I'm not sure what more they want to see, but
Yeah, and I think that's the direction that we're looking for. I don't want to speak for Justin or Phil if you guys have anything else to say, but I guess we're all kind of stuck just wondering if you need more information. I think all of us are more than happy to provide that information, but I don't think we heard specifics of what might help.
But I don't know that you're gonna get any direction that way either. Because, I mean, we've answered every question at least 4 or 5 times the same way. We've shown the board financially and fiscally what the most responsible way to do this for all of us, the taxpayers, is. I mean, what other questions are board members going to have? You know, there was some fairly uninformed things said at the last board meeting about why one member is now voting no. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm asking, do you think if we bring it to the board this month or next month and say, all right, what specific questions does anybody have? That there's actually going to be constructive, specific questions? I personally don't.
I don't know. But I mean, just taking it back and proposing the, you know, the bonding again, I don't think that's gonna fly either, because nothing has changed since last month, so, right, we're kind of in limbo.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes,
So wasn't at the last meeting, heard bits and pieces about the conversations, and I think you're premature by a month or two to take it to the board for consideration. I think you need to have the conversation prior to the vote about putting it out for bid, because you need some direction. But there's some elements about what Baird has put together that I think that September, October timeframe makes some sense. Your equalized value forecast that Baird has given you at 2.9%, you will get a report on that sometime in the month of September, I think towards the end of September. That's going to give your board members some questions about, are those projections accurate? You're going to give both Q&E and Venture more time to progress their documents so that we can start to formalize a tighter budget on what's happening with the markets, right? You heard John say he's evaluating what are we going to do for the building structure, because we've got to be able to wrap that into the budget. Corey is bringing mechanical and electrical engineers within the next few weeks to be able to finalize what that looks like, that I can now take out to contractors to update some budgets. So I think what has been commented about bringing it back to the board, you need to have that dialogue. But I would agree with the comments here. I think you're a month or two too early. I think if you targeted it in September and October to be able to come back and talk about, here's some of those unknowns that are known, meaning that if you knew what your equalized value report is, you have some updated budgets on both the highway and the jail. Now you've got some numbers in your hand before you take the vote to say, are we putting this on the street to bid? So.
Do you guys think the board wants it? And I don't even know if this is possible. Does the board want it to go to bid first, have the bids come back and then vote on bonding?
It's kind of backwards. I mean, I don't know that you're gonna get very many bids. It's known that the financing hasn't been approved. I mean,
Right.
right.
I just
I
like,
mean, honestly, that's,
what I heard at the last board meeting, I think, from a couple people is we want.
you did
bids
hear
to go
that,
out
and it
first
makes no
then
sense.
the decision.
I just did that with a salt shed I contacted. I only got one answer back. So once they know you're not getting the money, they don't wanna deal
They
with
don't
it.
waste their time.
A lot of time, I mean, especially, you know, with all this stuff. going on.
Clerk, we went through that with the bathrooms. How many times, didn't we?
For a year.
Yeah.
Postpone it for a little bit yet.
Well, we can,
You put it on a county agenda for discussion. They have questions.
Or an update.
I think it's a decent idea. I just don't know if there's gonna be any constructive questions.
well, I guess we can try. I mean, do you think that would work, Mr. Chair? I mean, bring it up for discussion and see if there's any specific questions out there that people want answers to.
We could do that. Like I said, Jeremy's suggestion was to move forward with some common ground and not get all stuck on if this doesn't go through, you know, we're gonna just get rid of the whole thing. So that would open up that discussion at the board level then too.
Well, he has some good points there, stuff we need, we aren't gonna know for a month or two, which will directly affect the whole project.
We don't have all the information and we start talking about it. It's screwed.
Right, right.
But I agree, nobody's gonna bid it sanely if they don't know we have the money.
Right. Right.
And from a practical sense, if you do, I understand what Jeremy is presenting, but from a practical sense, if you guys approve bonding for a workshop next week, but want to wait on the jail, we go through two different, like that immediately kickstarts things that the clerk, myself, and the finance director have to do within the county. So then you'd be doing that twice within a certain amount of time. So from a practical standpoint,
Timeline on it, though, start in September or something, you know, that way if something else comes back, you could add them together. Don't you? Or would you have to start, put like a future date on it?
yeah, that's not, I guess that's not my experience with how that works.
But could it be done? I guess would be the question.
They can wait.
Well, if you approve bonding to start in August to start working on it or something, I mean, you don't have to have the start date be immediately after it's voted. That's the thought.
It's a months-long process, though.
Right, but you start the month-long process in September.
If you read the whole parameters resolution, that thing that's like 50 pages long, that does kickstart that process.
You would end up redoing a number of things that you had already done if you did one. If you started on it with one and then in the second phase of it, if the jail were approved later and it's like, let's add it in, you're redoing 90% of what you did the first time.
Well, there's a time factor too, that
Exactly.
it's gotta be, if it's gonna get on next year's tax statement.
Right.
Yeah.
It's gotta be done because the
Right.
tax statements go out December 15th, and if, you can't just do it on December 14th.
I need them by November 15th.
That's
I have to have it by November 15th because it has to go into the Department of Revenue and then there's a bigger process. Well,
Well,
September's our absolutely last chance.
I would say yes, because just the internal process we go through, how long did that take us? 2 months last time on a 6 million bonding? Yep.
well, for this month's, full board meeting, let's just, put it on the agenda to bring it up, to discuss it, and then see if we can pull some ideas, out of some people at what they're looking for. We can get closer to the bonding issue, you know, in another month or 2 months down the road. So,
So we still want to have a meeting on it.
well. Yeah, we-
Calendar.
we can still get a, pull it up, see what's happening, I guess, right? 3 weeks. Oh. Okay, can we get that put on the agenda then? Okay. Anything else anybody got? We are adjourned. Thank you all. You'll make your meeting.